101.8 WCR FM.
Well, it's always a pleasure to welcome Geoff Downes, and actually, for the first time in a long while, we've actually looking at each other while we're talking.
I know, makes a change, doesn't it? it's down the phone line. Yeah, well, technology.
Yeah. How are you anyway?
Yeah, good. Been out in the sun this afternoon, taking it easy.
Right, well, the reason you're here, and obviously you're always very welcome, 11th of June sees the release of the 5 CD box set Asia, the reunion albums 2007 to 2012. I mean, this is a period of this period of the band covers the time when you guys reunited as the classic lineup, yourself, Carl Palmer, Steve Howe, and the sadly departed John Wetton. There is something magic about the four of you guys together, isn't there?
I think so. I think that's something that we thought back in 2006 when we got back together again. I think that we felt that we'd not really finished the job off, with the original Asia. I think it was fairly short-lived. I think probably 1981 through 1984. So I think there was a lot more music to be had. And I think when we first got back together again in 2006, and the original idea was that we would just do some touring and play that Asian music that people had become familiar with. We felt that eventually it would be nice to go out and do another album. And that's really how the whole sequence of albums started. If you're looking at the very first itemization of our touring, then you've got the Fantasia album is a very good example of where we were at, getting together and playing our heritage tunes as well. So it wasn't just a case of let's just play the old stuff. We thought that it would be nice to show where we'd all come from. And I think that's why we incorporated a Bogos song, Fanfare of a Common Man, Roundabout, etc., etc. So it was nice to be able to do that, and I think that we felt, we've done that, let's get some new music under our belt. And so it was great to get back in the studio with the original lineup and turn the clock back 30 or so years, which was great.
I mean, when you guys got together originally back in the early 80s, you were quite rightly sort of, classed as the supergroup. And as you said, you weren't together as a four-piece very long as that original lineup. But so I think a lot of people are quite surprised how little time you were together, because those first two albums you made were just, well, they're in so many people's collections and they are just classic songs, aren't they?
I think so. I think that going back to the first album really took us quite by surprise about how successful it was, because being the biggest selling album in America in 1982, that was something that we never anticipated. I think that 1981 was really the year that we formed at the beginning of 1981. We spent a lot of time rehearsing. I don't think it was a case of, hey, this big guru record guy puts us together and makes this wonderful supergroup. We all got on very well. I think that certainly I'd worked with Steve the previous year on the drama album and the Yes tours that I did, and I'd met John socially through the management offices. So it was something that we all started talking about, something that we really wanted to do, and I think that by the time it came around to that first release of the album, I don't think we knew we'd got a nice style of music together. But I mean, we couldn't possibly predict how successful that first album was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, both that and the follow-up album Alpha were just absolutely remarkable. I mean, when you guys reformed in 2006, was it always something that you felt would happen at some point?
I think it had been bandied around for quite some time, but Steve was very much involved with Yes in the 90s. I was doing the stuff with John Payne as well. John was out in America doing his solo stuff, and Carl was going back with ELP. So there wasn't really the alignment of the planets at that point that could bring us all together. It was only really when I started working with John again as on the writing partnership, which I think was fundamental to getting Asia back together again, because John and I had started to work on the Icon project. John had been to rehab and he'd sorted himself out, and he was in a really top form. And so Steve was taking a pass out of Yes at the time, and Carl wasn't doing anything with ELP. So the timing was absolutely right for us, and I think that it was only really up until that point that we had at that point we had the opportunity to be able to do that.
I mean, the reunion tour was an incredible success, wasn't it? I mean, I saw a couple of the shows, and the reaction to those classic tracks, when you look around the audience, was just remarkable, because I think a lot of people, probably like myself, who never got to see Asia the first time around, I think people were just sort of like, just lapping it up, thinking, oh my God, I never thought I'd see Only Time Will Tell, or, you know, sort of Cutting It Fine. We'd never get to see them. So the reaction was amazing, wasn't it?
It was incredible. I think that, as you rightly say, there was an appetite for it to, because we only did very few shows in Europe on the first time round. I think we did 2 shows at Wembley Arena and some dates in Germany and on the continent. So there was not a lot of meat on the table for the fans to be able to get their teeth into. So it was great that we did be, you know, as you say, get back out there and be able to play that stuff to the fans who had been, you know, with us from the beginning, really. I think that they were just waiting for the right moment.
I mean, did it take you guys by surprise just how much love there was for those original songs when you went back out in 2006?
I think it did surprise us, because we were, again, really dipping our toe in the water. We didn't know what to expect. But as soon as we started off the first few gigs, we started off in the States, and I realised how significant those anthems had been to a lot of people. Certainly things like Soul Survivor and Wildest Dreams, Open Your Eyes, there's even stuff from the second album. It was a period of people's lives, I think, that they looked on fondly. Certainly most of them were, at the time, were college kids or whatever. And of course, when we were out there in their 40s and 50s, and they got kids and, you know, grandkids and even all sorts of things. So, but it was great that somehow we managed to bury our music in the psyche of people around the world.
I mean, after that tour, you obviously went into the studio, and you made 3 albums in a relatively short space of time. If you think about it, the Phoenix in 2008, Omega 2010, and Triple X in 2012. I mean, considering how busy you guys were with your other work, it's amazing that you managed to get 3 albums done in that sort of, you know, 4-year sort of period, really.
Yeah, it was. I think that the Phoenix album was really was the start of it, and so, as I said, the essential thing for me was that I got that songwriting relationship back with John, and I think that was the foundation of how we built up on that. Certainly, having the original band in the studio brought back a lot of great memories for us, because we were, as I say, we didn't know what was going to happen with that first album, so we had the great memories of making those early albums, and to go back to that was really a big bonus for all of us, because I don't think any of us thought we'd be in that position to be able to do that, and I think that the albums really stand up. I think the set that actually arrived this morning.
Oh wow!
Which is the full package of the 4 albums. I think it's a great collection. It's another big chapter in Asia's history, and sadly we don't have John anymore. But I think that it will trigger a lot of great memories for the fans that get hold of a copy and play those albums in their entirety.
I mean, those three albums that you did, Phoenix, Omega, and the Triple X album, I mean, they really were classic. They are now classic Asia albums. When you got back into the studio, and as you said, when you started writing with John again, did it just feel right almost instantly? Was the connection there?
It did. I think that we just carried on from where we left off in many respects. Certainly, there was a lot of camaraderie in the early days, and that came back. I think that we'd all gone off and done various diverse things in the interim period, but to get back in with the other guys, hearing Carl play the drums and Steve putting his magical guitar parts all over the place, and as I say, John's great vocals. We're all really what Asia was about, and I think that it was a great feeling to be back there doing what we set out doing.
I mean, this box set, as you said, it's the perfect accompaniment to the original two albums, and I know it's something that a lot of people will, add to their collection. I mean, the last time we spoke was around the release of the Downs Braid album, Halcyon Hymns. Have you been pleased with the reaction to that album?
Well, that's been great, because I think that's the dogs barking. Don't worry about them. The reaction has been fantastic. I think that it was something that we wanted to do when we got the lockdown was imposed on everybody, and I think it's inspired people to make music in a very different way. And certainly the virtual contact that we've managed to maintain over the years with Chris and I think has been very significant, and we almost set ourselves up for something like that.
Yeah.
It was a very natural thing for us to do, So because Chris has always been based in LA all this time, and I've been based over here, so it was a method that we'd actually refined, and so it wasn't that alien to us to be doing it that way. But certainly, I think that other people have had to do that as a means of collaboration. And,
yeah.
And some great stuff has come out of it, and I'm very happy with the response to Halcyon Hymns, because I think that there's some very deep music on there. I think there's some pathos, there's some lighter moments, but it's a very musical album, I think.
Definitely, to a wonderful album. And as you said, you were groundbreaking because you were making lockdown albums before anybody knew what that thing was.
Yeah, exactly. We invented the lockdown.
You certainly did. I mean, you mentioned live shows before. Is that still on the cards when restrictions allow, maybe to do a few shows?
I think so. I think that I can't wait to get back to playing live again. It's all because the whole process of going back to the beginning of my career, you made the album and then you went out and you promoted it, and I think that it's nice to look forward to that and to make music and go out and take that to people. There's nothing like it. I think that it's all very well people saying, oh, I love the album, that's great, but until you actually take it out there and you present it and people get a different experience from it, because they can see what you're doing. There's the connection between the people on the stage and in the audience, and I think that to me is a very, very important part of music.
Yeah, definitely. And talking of live shows, obviously you're going back out on the road in 2022 for the Yes Relay Tour. They should be some great shows, but you've been preparing for these for quite some time, haven't you? Now, with obviously, and they've been sort of put off time and time again.
Yeah, they get more and more deferred down the line, but I think with some luck that next year we'll see it open up, hopefully big time, and we'll be able to get back doing what we all love doing, and have the audiences back that I know are very, very hungry to see bands live. And you look at how many bands are going out there now, because everyone's really been starved of music for live music for such a long period. Such not something I'd ever thought I'd see in my lifetime, but I think that we'll be hot to trot and ready to go, and everyone will be raring for it.
Is this the longest sort of like downtime you've ever had, sort of in your career? Then.
Yeah, I mean, I've always done little things, but nothing like the scale of the last 15 years, where I've been virtually solidly on the road with either Yes and or Asia.
Yeah.
And latterly doing stuff with Chris as well. So it's been a very big chunk of recording part of my life the last 15 years, starting with the Asia reunion pretty well. So to put it in a nutshell, yeah, I think this is probably the longest stint that I've had off the road, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there. That's for sure. Well,
we're definitely looking forward to seeing you out there again. I dare say we'll speak before the Yes dates come round to the UK. I said, sure. Yeah. I mean, it's always a pleasure catching up with you, Geoff. Anyway, it is, whether it's to do with Asia, Dan's Braid, or Yes, it always is. It's nice to catch up with you.
Yeah. Or anything else we can come up with.
Exactly. Geoff, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for your time today, and as I dare say, we'll chat again soon.
Lovely, thanks, Gary.
Cheers,
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.
101.8 WCR FM.